Okay, this video is for those of you who are looking for some help with independent versus dependent variables and also with writing a function rule. So let's take a look at our example. The pizza place Matt and his friends order from charge $8 for every pizza. Matt decides to tip the delivery driver $5 when the pizzas arrive. First thing we want to discuss is what is the independent variable and what is the dependent variable. In order to identify these, we have to be able to identify what the variables are in general. In this case, there's two things that we don't know. We don't know, first, the cost, or I should say total cost. We also don't know how many pizzas that Matt and his friends ordered, so the number of pizzas. We have to ask ourselves, which one depends on the other? Does it matter? Does the total cost depend on the number of pizzas, or do the number of pizzas depend on the total cost? So will the cost be impacted by the number of pizzas, or will the pizzas be impacted by the cost? And I think it's clear to see that the input here, the thing that's going to decide our final product, is the number of pizzas. The input is always our independent variable. So the independent variable is the input, which in this case is the number of pizzas. That means that the dependent variable is the output, or in this case, the total cost. Because the total cost depends on the number of pizzas. The next thing they ask us to do here is to write a function rule for the situation. They tell us that C is the cost of pizzas and N is the number of pizzas that we ordered. So we define our variables. C is total cost. N is the number of pizzas. And we look at the problem to tell us what we can write as our function rule. So we know that the total cost is what we're solving for. That's the dependent variable. We can set this function rule up as C equals, because our total cost is going to equal something that has to do with the number of pizzas. It costs $8 for every pizza. That word every is a very key word here. It means multiplication. So it's going to be $8 times the number of pizzas. And then he's tipping the delivery driver $5 when the pizza arrives. That $5 is no matter how many pizzas they order. It doesn't tell us in the problem that they're ordering 3 pizzas, it's $5. If they're ordering 4 pizzas, it's $5.50. Anything like that. That is constant. It will not change. So for every time we order pizzas, it's going to add $5 to our total cost. That makes a function rule of C equals 8n plus 5. The last step is, how much does it cost Matt and his friends if they order 3 pizzas? So this time they're telling us what n is. N is 3, and it's a matter of substitution. So we go back to our first couple chapters that we covered this year, and we substitute 3 in everywhere we see n. So C equals 8, I put parentheses instead of the n, and I substitute 3 in here. We go through and we solve. 8 times 3 is 24. I add 5 to that, and I get 29. So C equals 29. We'd answer our question saying that the cost of the pizza, or of 3 pizzas, is $29. And that's our final answer.